Welcome to Digital Asset News to get top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets, and break them down in bite-sized pieces. Today we've got a lot of stuff to go over, so let's jump right in. First up, tech giant announces world's fastest quantum computer is now available, and is Bitcoin and cryptographic systems at risk. Also, Reddit hopes to onboard its 430 million monthly users to Ethereum. That is huge news. Plus, if you don't think Ethereum is going to be huge, that last story we're going to go over, and also this one of how and why major stars are embracing tokenization, I just don't know what else to tell you because I believe Ethereum is a $10,000 token. And Nomura and partners launch a digital asset custodian called Kaimanu, and this is big news because now we are seeing that all these different institutional investors getting in, and they need one thing, which is called custodian services, and they're not the first, and they're definitely not the last. And finally, Bitcoin scammers launch Elon Musk and SpaceX scheme, and they've stole over $2 million, and I'm going to show you how to avoid this and many others just like it. But before we jump in, let's take a look at what's going on with the market. So it's a pretty good day, actually. Bitcoin, almost at 9,600. We've been flirting around with 9,400 for a week now, and now we're up 2.5%, so this is a positive sign. Ethereum busting through 6.2%. And the stories we're going to go over today, it's going to make a lot of sense of why Ethereum is really going to be the breakout star. Tether's Tether, XRP's XRP, Bitcoin Cash, SV, everything's up across the board, so it's a good day for cryptocurrency and digital assets. And also, there's a big player in the game, and that name is Compound. Unfortunately, they took a big tumble at 18.5%. Now, I had talked about Compound over the last 2 or 3 days, and this is going to be listed on Coinbase Pro. I believe it's today, correct me if I'm wrong. So I had misspoke when I said Coinbase. I should have said Coinbase Pro. So just so you know, for CoinGecko, I mean, it was all the way up to like, I think $340, $350, and now it's just taking a massive dump. Now, usually is how it all kind of plays out. You know, usually it kind of goes up before the actual event happens, and then everybody sells like crazy. So if you're in that game and you're trying to get out, good luck to you. But just so you know, this is usually how it always goes. Buy the rumor and sell the news, and off we go. So if you're in a Compound, maybe it might be time to get out. That's just my opinion. Or if you're a holder, hey, go ahead and hold. Let's jump into the big stories. So first up, I found this one pretty fascinating because I get this question every so often about the quantum computing. Can it break the seed phrase, the mnemonic phrase, and actually steal all of our cryptocurrency digital assets? And the answer was, I don't know. And this article actually answers that question perfectly. So this was from a couple days ago on June 20th. Today is June 22nd, and it is around 12:30 Texas time. And so it just kind of goes over what's going on in the quantum computing industry. So industrial powerhouse Honeywell says its latest quantum computer is now the fastest in the world. How quickly real-world applications will develop or how swiftly they'll be able to impact industries or affect cryptographic systems such as Bitcoin is a subject of rigorous debate. And not really, because it's going to come down to this last article or this last paragraph. States here an announcement on Thursday. Honeywell said its team of scientists, engineers, and all these people delivered a quantum volume of 64. What does that mean? The metric measures both the total number of the computer's qubits and how well it handles them. IBM's machine scored a 32, suggesting Honeywell's quantum computer is twice as fast at 64. Honeywell's machine is designed to add up to 640,000 quantum bits or qubits as the system scales. Tony Utley, president of Honeywell's quantum computing division, tells CNET. Great. So they said they pretty much lay it out pretty simply. They said, think of an auditorium with a lot of seats. We've built the infrastructure to be an auditorium. We're filling out a few seats at a time. So they start with around 64. Now they're going, look, we can go all the way to 640,000 qubits. Moving down, moving down. Further, it states the race for quantum supremacy has a growing list of competitors that includes Google, IBM, the big players. Startup PsiQuantum Corp is working on a photon-based commercial quantum computer that is promising 1 million qubits. Man, that's a ton. And this is what it all comes down to. While technicians expect quantum computing to transform and impact nearly every industry, including cryptographically secure systems like Bitcoin and other blockchains, more qubits are required. Dragos Eli, a quantum computer and encryption researcher at Imperial College London, argues that adding more and more qubits to a scale or to scale a system is tricky and may ultimately lead to a destabilized system. He states, Google's supercomputer currently has 53 qubits. In order to have any effect on Bitcoin or most other financial systems, it would take at least about 1,500 qubits, and the system must allow for the entanglement of all of them. So you have to understand, if these quantum computers come out, it's not just going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and cryptocurrency digital assets that's at risk. It's every other type of cryptographically secure space out there. So all your bank accounts, everything that has to do with your financial data, everything that has to do with your information, everything that is supposed to be secured will be wiped out with quantum computing. So how are they going to solve that? That's for a question for somebody way, way smarter than me. But I will tell you this, it looks like they are a bit of a ways off, but who knows? So let me know what you think in the comments section. And for all you smarties out there, which I'm sure there's a lot of you that are definitely smarter than me, let me know what you think about this article and how fast do you think this is actually coming to fruition. All right, next up, Reddit hopes to eventually onboard 403 million monthly users to Ethereum. Now this is huge. When this first came out, I didn't really think too much of it because they were trying to do like a limited rollout to their users in their different Reddit forums, especially like with the cryptocurrency and one other one. So now Reddit's saying, no, we want to do this for all of our users, everything, and it has to do with Ethereum. So again, Ethereum is one of my big holds, and I see it only going way up. Anyhow, let's get into the article. So 1 month after Reddit introduced 20 million users to 2 of its ERC20 tokens, Reddit has now established that its latest mission is to onboard everybody, all 430 million. The payment system uses the ERC20 tokens. It's designed to reward subscribed users for their contribution to the supported communities. Initially, Reddit set its gaze on only the cryptocurrency and Fortnite subreddits, which just those alone would have been huge. Now they're going to do everybody. That's even greater. Both of which are home to 20 million Reddit users. As of yesterday, Reddit announced that its newer objective is to scale community points to all or everybody that it has. So if we're looking for mass adoption, the more people that we can get into this space to use any type of cryptocurrency, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's Bitcoin, I don't care if it's Ethereum or Tomato Coin, I do not care. As long as they get into the space and they start to use these digital assets or cryptocurrencies, I think it's a win-win for everybody. And I've always said it, if you can get to be able to use blockchain just like you use everything else and don't even realize you're using it, that's when mass adoption comes. And I think this is just one of those big stepping stones that we need to cross to really get everybody to step on it. Anyhow, further on it states, security is one of the other areas where decentralized shines. Reddit puts the spotlight on its users. Solution requirements specifically state that users should have total control of their transactions at all times, with no external interface or interference, with no room for manipulation or forging of transaction balances. The high point of Reddit's integration tokens has remained the same. Exposure for crypto, specifically adoption for Ethereum solutions. Since May, Reddit has onboarded 18,000 users to Ethereum, even before the incorporation of community points to the mainnet. And this, I think, is going to be a big thing. So we have this big story right here on top of this next one. I don't see how Ethereum can't be a 10K coin. So this was an ongoing story, and it's all about tokenization. So tokenization, if you're not really familiar with it, it's a way of creating a digital representation of a right using a blockchain ledger. So an example would be like stable coins, like Universal United States Dollar or UPSD and Tether. They represent the ownership of one asset worth $1 US. So really just swapping whatever is physical to the intangible or to the digital. So these digital representations of tradable rights, known as tokens, can be easily transferred between individuals, just as sending a Bitcoin payment, essentially allowing anybody to buy, sell, and trade the ownership of anything without having to go through a third party or any kind of like frictionless type of transfer. So these tokens are generally created through smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. Again, we keep hearing the same words again and again. So the example that everybody likes to use, and the one that I think is the most fascinating, was Spencer Dinwiddie. He tokenized his contract. And an example of this, this was NBA player Spencer Dinwiddie, tokenized part of his 34 million contract with the Brooklyn Nets. So here's what he did. He split a chunk of his contract into 90 separate professional athlete investment tokens, which can be purchased only by accredited investors for $150,000 each. By doing this, Dinwiddie is able to access up to $13.5 million of his 3-year, $34 million contract up front, while investors are providing a tokenized bond that pays out almost 5% APR, and that's paid as a single bullet. So when I first read this, I was like, this was a while ago, actually. This has been an ongoing thing, over 6 months, I can guarantee that. And when I first read it, I was like, why does he just wait? Just wait to get his contract and the money will come in. He wanted to pay 5%, right? But as time has gone on, I've realized how ridiculous that sounded, because when you have liquidity, when you have the ability to take a massive amount of money, you can do a whole lot of great things. Me and my wife were talking about this, and she makes loans for property, real estate, and you can have an interest rate of whatever you want it to be, or you can make loans to higher risk areas. Now, I'm not telling you to make loans. I'm just saying there is this ability. So, if you are paying out 4.95% and you're making a loan for, let's say, 7.25, do that all day long, and you still make money. Now, this also has a positive effect for me, because when I have more liquidity, I can buy more units or more products for my Amazon business. And the more that I buy, usually the more that I sell, and the more money that I make. So it really just comes down to how liquid are you and how much can you really spend. Now, there's a flip side of that. Of course, you could you can make a bad investment, but it just depends on where you're at. Now, I think with Dinwiddie, I'm going to guess he's a young guy. So whatever he's going to do with that 13 million, hopefully it's something smart, not like, hey, I got a friend of a friend who wants to open up this crazy business and he loses everything, because you still got to pay that APR back. But if you're smart about it, if you have the liquidity, it's great. So I think it's a good thing for him. And if you know what you're doing, it can work out. It can also be a disaster if you have no idea what's going on. Anyhow, moving on, it says providing an interest rate of 4.95%. Dinwiddie's 3-year bond pays out far more than most other financial instruments, and certainly more than most governments or corporate bonds. And that's just the truth. So if you're going to the bank, these days, T-bonds, come on, you're not going to make any money. And then just, sitting that around, good luck with inflation. These days, you have to make your money work for you, because if it doesn't and it just sits there in a savings account, like what I was brought up to believe, you're just losing money, and that's just how it goes. So tip my hat to Dinwiddie. Great job. Anyhow, moving down. So lastly, it states, the future of the tokenized asset industry is clear. Anybody or anything with significant potential to accrue value over a fixed period has the opportunity to be tokenized and sold over the internet. This could be anything, ranging from celebrities to personalities, up-and-coming athletes, brands, companies, patents, and just about anything that has an attributed value. And I always like to use the example of real estate. Who here has the ability to buy a New York skyscraper, right? Pretty tough. We're not all billionaires. However, if you're an accredited investor, maybe you have 100,000, 150,000, or let's just go back. Let's just say the most simplest way. Let's say you have a house. You have a house in your city and it's selling for 150,000. I don't know where you're at, right? It depends on where you're at. If you're in Los Angeles, you can't get a house for 150,000. If you're in, someplace in Iowa, seems reasonable. So let's say you have that house and you don't have 150,000 to put up. You don't want to go to the bank. Let's say you get 10 people around. You go, hey, let's all pinch our money in. We can tokenize this asset, and we can essentially extract value from that project. Same thing with a condo, multiple condos, a strip mall, all the way up to that huge skyscraper that I talked about in New York City. You can tokenize anything that has a physical presence. You can tokenize it. You can pull it all out. You can make a smart contract, and you can use an oracle like, Chainlink, and pull in real API data for all different types of prices, and everybody gets paid, and you eliminate the middleman. I know it's a fast explanation, but if you kind of see where things are going, now you understand, hopefully, a little bit of why I think Ethereum is going to be big and why I invested heavily into it. All right, let's move on. Next up, Japanese bank Nomura Holdings and cryptocurrency partners Ledger and CoinShares launch Komeinu, I hope I said that right, custodian to safeguard digital assets for financial institutions on Wednesday. So this will be led by CoinShares co-founder and CEO Jean-Marie Mognetti. He says, we've been trying the platform with a limited number of clients for 4 to 5 months. They're now launching to new clients. CoinMiner's debut comes as more established financial firms explore offering custody and other services for cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and the digital assets. So if you read this just by itself, it's boring. It doesn't, who cares? There's just an asset, or, they're doing custodial services. But you have to understand what's happening here. I got in 2017, and for any type of mention of any big institution getting in. It was huge news. And now it seems like it happens like every day. So, I mean, we just had Fidelity. They're going to do custodial services, and they have over 7 trillion assets under management. Now they're going to do custodial services. Good for them. BAKKT and Fidelity Digital, again, they're offering trading and custodial solutions for institutions. You also got Grayscale. And who'd they use? Well, they use Coinbase Custody Trust as the custodial for custodial services. And this is Grayscale, who also has 2.2 billion assets under management. This was in, and let me remind you, this is in Q1 2020. So this is put out in April. About a month ago or so, they're now at 3.7 billion. And where do they get the most of their investments? Well, the majority in Q1 of 2020 came from institutional investors, dominated by hedge funds. And then in the last 12 months, it was 79% of the same type of people. So you've got all these different institutions coming in. Now they're getting into custodial services, and it just never stops. And it seems like now these big institutions are the biggest cheerleaders of cryptocurrency digital assets, whereas before they were poo-pooing all over it. And you got the same thing like TD Ameritrade. They got 1 trillion assets under management. You also have a place like VanEck, and they're huge gold bugs, and they put this out in January, which just said that, hey, we love gold, but Bitcoin beats the pants off it, and here's why. And then lastly, you just had the big guy. This was Paul Tudor Jones with his 21 billion assets under management. He stated on May 8, 2020 that he's going to put 2% of total investments into Bitcoin futures. If you don't know Paul Tudor Jones, he's like an investment legend. Sure, I mean, this was in the 80s and whatever, but he's still a legend, and it carried a lot of weight with institutions and older type of like baby boomers, people who were into the stock market in the 80s, and they said, hey, if he's doing it, that's got to be good, and that's good for our sector. So I'm excited to see what happens. So moving on, and to finish up this article, Koimanu's executive team includes Kenton Farmer as head of operations. He has worked at Credit Suisse Group AG and Hermes Fund Managers. Andrew Morfill, former global head of cyber defense at Banco Santander. He'll be the chief information security officer. And Susan Patterson, a former regulator. She'll serve as all the regulatory affairs. So when I take a look at what is happening, I like to look at the team itself. If you have a strong team and you have those people around you that know what the heck they're doing, it makes things a lot smoother, and it makes your chances of success skyrocket. All right, let's move on. Last up, I had to include this because this is the first I'd actually seen of it. I think I had seen it before, but it kind of just slipped my mind. But this was another scam, Elon Musk and SpaceX scheme. So all it is, it's the same type of nonsense that we've been seeing forever, right? You've got a YouTube video, and somewhere it comes out, and it talks about like, hey, this guy, and they're talking about loosely about cryptocurrency. And then all of a sudden there's this thing that says, hey, we're giving away Bitcoin. And it's an asymmetrical giveaway, right? They say, hey, if you give us, 0.1 Bitcoin, we'll give you 1 full Bitcoin. If you give us half a Bitcoin, we'll give you 10 Bitcoin back. And it's just our way of showing appreciation. That's a scam. It's always a scam. No one likes you that much. You're not that special. I mean, maybe you're special. I don't know. But no one's that special to give you that much money. So this is the same thing that's been going on for quite some time. The difference is what's happening is that in the address, it's called a vanity address. So you got this one called one Musk, PSV7, da 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 da. And to the untrained eye, people look at that and go, oh, that's Musk. I mean, that's Elon Musk. And that must be what it is. And he definitely is giving away money. It's the same thing like here. Like if you had an address and it said like J Dorsey, 7x52, whatever. Like, oh, maybe that's it. So just so you know, don't fall for that because that's ridiculous and that's a scam. Now that we know. So remember, treat everything like it's a scam because usually it is. And if when in doubt, contact the actual website and just ask them. Like you can go to Coinbase and go to them directly and send them an email. Hey, Coinbase, you giving away free Bitcoin or free Ethereum? No? Okay. Send them an email. Hey, are you guys giving away free money? No. Hey, Binance, you giving away free? No. Hey, Ledger, you giving away free? No, we're not. No one's giving away free stuff. And even the people that are giving away free stuff still treat it like a scam because that'll save you in the long run. So that's all I really got to say about that. Lastly, I will say this. There is a thing called the Bitcoin Abuse Database, and you can file a report if you've gotten screwed out of your money. And I will say I'm sorry if that's happened because that's awful. So just so you know, in every one of in the description of our videos or my videos, I have what's called, it's a Google spreadsheet, there's a link to it and it says scam of the day. And it's going to take you this nice little spreadsheet, and we've been doing pretty good work. We've been getting rid of certain scammers, and we've done pretty well. So there's 5 things I always talk about, and then I just added in this Bitcoin abuse website, so you can report anything that you have. And if you could help us out, that'd be great. There is, at the very end, there's one scam we just recently found. You click on that, it's going to take you to this little video here. And don't take my word for it if you think this is not a scam. Maybe it is legit. So what you can do is just kind of reach out to Twitter help and ask them, hey, is the CEO of Twitter giving away Bitcoin? That sounds ridiculous when I say it, but whatever. Some people just never believe. So do your own research, all the good stuff. So if you could just come here, downvote it, it'd be great. Click on these 3 dots, report it, and all you got to do is just put 2 spam or misleading. Choose one. Scams and fraud. Next. This is a scam. And report, and you're done. So if you can do that, that will be fantastic. I really appreciate it. Look, this video is going pretty long already, so that's it for today. I don't want to take too much of anybody else's time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.